Hello and welcome to the podcast. This is Ron's Amazing Stories. We have stories that should thrill you a little and chill you a little.
It's amazing.
What you'll hear are adventures sent in by you guys, classic stories from the pulp mags, and episodes from the golden age of radio. We have special segments like Ghost Stories with Sylvia.
That's amazing.
And These Are Your Stories. So settle in for the next hour and enjoy the show. One more thing. You just might want to prepare yourself to be taken away from today.
That you say.
Hello and welcome to the podcast. Today we have a Hermit's Cave double feature. That's right, 2 stories that should give you pause to breathe.
What does that mean?
I have no idea, except to say that this was one of the more creepy syndicated radio horror series ever made. But what made it really different was the syndication was done via scripts, so stations would broadcast the program with their own cast members. There weren't too many shows that did that during the golden age of radio. The program began in September of 1937 and continued into the mid-1940s on WJR AM in Detroit, Michigan. In 1942, WJR would record the show and broadcast it a week later on WBBM in Chicago, Illinois. By 1943, transcriptions of the WJR version of the program were also being broadcast in 8 additional cities. So in the end, the show was recorded and we have them today. In fact, both of our stories are from the WJR versions. Of note, KMPC-AM Los Angeles, California broadcast the show from 1940 to 1941 with William Conrad as producer. You probably know him better as Matt Dillon in the radio series Gunsmoke. As far as I know, there are no existings of his rendition of The Hermit's Cave, and that's too bad because I would have liked to hear his take on the stories. What we're going to hear today are 2 stories recorded in the 1940s. I can't really tell you when, but I can say that they are episodes number 8 and number 18. Both are really creepy and should get you in the mood for the upcoming month of spooky. So let's get the creepy stuff started. Our first story is titled The Search for Life. Mary Shelley, in her 1818 novel, Frankenstein, was one of the first to explore the idea of bringing back the dead. It's worth noting that Frankenstein's monster is a retelling of the cultural golem myth. The key distinction is that the golem was made from clay by mystics, whereas Frankenstein's monster is made from flesh by a scientist. In the case of our story, bringing back the dead is more of a chemical thing and has some pretty drastic consequences. It is episode 8 of The Hermit's Cave, and as near as I can figure, it probably aired in mid-1942.
Now, the Hermit is ready to begin.
Ghost stories, weird stories, and murders too. The Hermit knows of them all. Turn out your lights. Turn them out. Have you heard the story, The Search for Life? Eh? Then listen while the hermit tells you the story.
Yeah?
Hale, don't you think it's time you stopped for a while? It's getting awfully late.
Just a moment. I didn't notice what time it was, Vera.
Come on, I have a nice warm supper ready for you.
Well, I'll lock the laboratory door and be right with you.
Oh, I wish you wouldn't work so hard, Hale.
You mustn't worry about me. The research scientist has to work hard.
I've barely seen you these past few weeks. You've never worked this hard before.
And I've never done anything like this before. Here, let me seat you.
Thank you. What are you doing, Hale?
Vera, have you been in my laboratory?
I only went in the other day to clean up.
I didn't notice that you had cleaned up. Same to me.
You came back before I had a chance to do any cleaning.
But being somewhat of a chemist yourself, you studied my notes, eh?
Well, they were there on the desk. I couldn't help but read them. Hale, you must stop it. Stop this experiment immediately.
What I'm doing is nothing more than other men have done before me. The creation of the elements the body needs to live on and on. Yes, possibly the chemical and operative procedure for the recreation of a dead person.
Recreate a dead person? Well, that's impossible.
Why is it? Why is anything impossible if you know the cause and effect and the properties that make it up?
Hale, drop it, please. Don't go ahead with this thing. If you succeed, you'll control a thing that was never meant to be controlled.
Yes, I shall control death.
And the world will bow to you, flock to you at first, and then they'll grow to hate you and despise you for what you've done. They'll seek you out and kill you, because if death was not to be, someone else would have changed it aeons ago. Hale, you must stop this experiment before you get...
Coming. Why, Court Mender.
Hello, Nada. I came as soon as I received your message from Mr. Browson.
Come in. Oh, I'm glad to see you, Court. You know, I've tried for almost a week to get in touch with you. In here.
I've tried equally hard to make contact with you. You're a celebrity now.
Oh, you don't do so badly in that laboratory yourself. Won't you sit down?
Well, thanks. I can only stay a few minutes. Hale Browson is rather exacting since he's perfected his experiment.
Oh, let's not talk about him. I seem to be afraid of his very name. Bringing dead people back to life. Doing miracles.
I'm his assistant. You're not afraid of me?
Someone I've known all my life, grew up with? Oh, don't be silly. Of course I'm not afraid of you.
Well, Nada Arling, the actress. I never believed it'd be like this.
You doubted my sincerity? Or my ability?
No, I never doubted either. But that night 6 years ago when you went away, well, that's the way I've always pictured you.
I've never forgotten that night, Court.
Nor I.
I wish we could have had this meeting when I first arrived.
Then you're leaving?
I must, Court.
But why? Is it always going to be like this?
I said 6 years ago, if I ever married, it would be you. But I can't turn back now. I have contracted.
Doesn't the fact that something inside both of us is slipping away mean anything to you?
Our youth is slipping away, and that's the only thing I have.
Our relative proportions and understandings are what I meant.
Oh, that's not true. Because I'm Nada Arling and your assistant to Hale Browson, the new creator, even that can't change it.
I don't like my position, Nada.
That of waiting for me or as a research scientist?
Both, but I'm afraid of the latter.
I'm surprised. Mr. Browson's discovery has made him the most important person in the world, and you're basking in every glory that's his.
That may mean a great deal to you, but to me, it's something horrible. I only accepted the position as Browson's assistant for one reason.
You accepted him? It was the other way around.
No, he told me what to expect, but I was willing to chance it then. Now I know I was wrong. Already it has begun to show itself. We're going to work the other way.
The other way? To work against creation?
Yes. Hale Browson gave his discovery to the world thinking its greatness would overshadow any evils it might give rise to. And instead, its evils have overshadowed its greatness and has gone beyond control.
Court, What you contemplate is murder.
There's no alternative, Nada.
Oh, what of the good you've done?
Good? You haven't seen some of those old people we treat continually. We give them life when their souls cry out to die. That's what we're doing. And everyone calls it good.
You've changed, Court. I didn't know.
I'm sorry, Nada. I shouldn't have come here. You know how I feel about you. I'm entering another world, and you are the only thing that remains between me and... Well, I can stop now. Leave Browson. You and I could go where no one knows us.
Oh, that'd be running away, Court. Something that never solved anything. I know what to expect as I am now. I'm realizing an ambition, and I can't give it all up in a moment.
No. I guess you couldn't. I should have known. Where does your tour take you?
My boat leaves for South America at 6 tomorrow morning. Court.
Yes, Nada?
I want you to promise me something.
All right.
That you'll forget Hale Browson and what you plan to do. Will you promise?
All right. Yes, I promise.
I hope you mean that.
Oh, I do. I do mean it. Are you going to board your boat tomorrow morning?
No, later this evening. They're giving me a reception, and when I leave there, I'm going directly to the boat.
I see.
Leaving so soon?
Yes, I have to be getting back.
Are you going to tell Mr. Browson tonight?
Tonight? Why, that's what I'm going to do now. I'll probably see you at the boat later.
Well, why such an abrupt departure? I wanted to... Strangely he acted. How very strange.
Good evening, Mr. Browson.
Court, what on earth brings you here at this hour of the night? I wasn't expecting you until morning.
I had to talk to you.
Come on in. Must be rather important to bring you away from Miss Arling. Sit down.
Thank you.
Seem quite upset about something.
I am.
What's on your mind, Court?
Do you mind if we close that door?
Certainly not. I'll close it. There. Now, what's troubling you?
Hale, have you told Mr. Browson what we intend doing?
No, I haven't. Naturally, I haven't told anyone.
Good. Hale, before we start allowing them to die when they should, I'm going to kill Nada Arling and bring her back to life.
But why? Why should you want to kill her? You're going to marry the girl.
That's what I had hoped. But it's all changed now.
And why have you come to me? You know almost as much about the procedures as I.
Yes, that's true. But I don't know what chemicals not to use in order that her brain will remember only to a certain point and not beyond.
She won't marry you?
No. Her career is more important to her than I am.
You know this is murder.
But I'll bring her back to life.
And in so doing, you intend creating her mind so it will forget its former fame?
That's what I came to see you about. So far, our creations have been with everything but the mind. That we've been unable to change. When we brought people back to life, their memory patterns remained the same. Now, I know you've been carrying on further research along this line.
Court, I have. My first experiment was tonight.
What was the result?
Just a moment, and I'll show you. Come with me to my laboratory.
Who was it?
Oh, a derelict who had died. Now, just a moment before you enter. The experiment wasn't entirely successful. I brought the subject to life easily enough, but his brain, well, you shall see.
What was that?
Wait until I snap on the light.
Well, in a cage. Looks all right. Doesn't seem to be anything wrong with him.
Don't go too near that cage. He may look all right, Court, but I assure you he isn't. Look at his eyes.
Yes, they have a wild, starry cast to them.
And his gibberish. What does that sound like to you?
It's almost like an animal.
Yes.
He wasn't insane before he died.
No, he died of a heart attack.
Well, then how did he become like this?
I reconstructed his brain exactly as it was. But the brain must manufacture something of its own that I don't know about. The only way I have of keeping him in that cage is to charge the bars with enough electricity to kill an ordinary man. It only stuns him.
Well, for heaven's sake.
What you see behind those bars is not a recreated human being, but a prehistoric man of gigantic strength.
I wish we had some other place to work. That thing gets on my nerves, jabbering and growling.
I can't let Vera know about this. We'll just have to stick it out, Court.
Oh, this formula of yours.
Yes?
We've been over it 1,000 times, and still the answer's the same. Now, shut up.
Court, please. Don't do that again. If he should break loose with the outer door locked, we wouldn't have a chance.
Well, why don't we kill it?
With what?
Well, we could use a gun. Wouldn't have to go near it to kill it that way.
Vera would hear. And besides, I couldn't do a thing like that.
I'm not so sure I couldn't.
Well, we'll find a more humane way than that.
And it's getting late. Time for me to go. I told Nada I'd meet her at the dock. Nada. Nada.
Cold. I thought you'd wait on the ship.
No, it's best this way.
I was rather hurt the way you left me this evening.
I'm sorry, Nada. Well, come. Sit in the car a few moments. It's warmer in here.
All right. I'm so glad you came down. So glad I was able to see you again before I left.
Nothing could have kept me away.
This will be a long trip.
Yes, it will be.
Of course. Is there something wrong?
No.
Is there something troubling you?
No.
I just touched your hands. They're like ice.
Well, it's just chilly down here, that's all.
I was half afraid of you a moment ago. When I looked in your eyes, they seemed to be staring at me oddly.
I want to remember you in case I...
Yes?
In case I don't see you again.
Oh, we'll see each other again, Court. I'm sure of that.
So am I.
You know, I've waited ever since we got in the car for you to tell me about Mr. Browson.
Mr. Browson?
Your break with him. You made it, didn't you?
Break? Oh, yes. Yes, I told him just what I was going to do.
Oh, such a weight lifted from my mind. Now I can leave without being afraid for you.
Yes, that's right.
That's all past now. When I come back from this tour, it'll be to the young scientist I knew 6 years ago.
Remember that. Remember that.
Court, you look so strange.
Remember the past, Nada.
Court, what are you doing? Court!
Nada, don't struggle, please. Just breathe deep. This poison is sure. I'll wake you soon. Oh, Nada, wherever you are, hear me. Believe me. You're the only life I have. I'll bring you back. But you must remember only the past. You must remember things as they were before. You must remember only...
Nada Arling slumps over dead. Will Court Mander succeed in making her remember only the past? What will happen when he brings her back to life? And the medieval monster in Hale Browson's laboratory, what about him, eh? The Hermit will tell you before the night is done.
Now the Hermit again.
Court Mander has brought Nada Arling to Hale Browson's laboratory. Mr. Browson is making preparations for the final operation on Nada Arling's brain.
Have those clamps ready. Court, place your fingers here while I put these clamps. Now, not too much. Tear apart.
I'm holding it. Will those creases smooth out when I let go?
Yes, when I inject these chemicals. There. Clamps are in place. Now for the injections of this fluid. I'm ready for that now. Gently, gently. Now release your fingers slowly. Slowly. Careful. Careful.
Oh, his growling frightened me.
These clamps slipped when you moved. I have to put them back on again.
You cause anything more like that to happen, and I'll take the shotgun and blow your head off.
Hold your hand steady. Suppose the tissue's too long, it would die again. We'll have everything to do all over again.
Here, I have it down again.
Steady. Now, forget him. Now, just a second. We'll be ready for the solution. Now. That does it. Release the pressure slowly.
Right.
See? The creases aren't coming back. Hurry. Hand me that piece of her skull that we cut away.
Here it is, in this case.
You bored all the holes in it so we could fasten it down in place?
Yes, they're ready.
Now help me again. We must replace it exactly as it was cut away.
I marked it.
Good. Yes. I see the marks. Now, turn it just slightly. There. Hold it in place while I fasten it.
That monster grabbed his cage and the electric shock made him scream.
The lights. Court, they're dimming. Court, he's holding onto the cage and shouting the current. I can't see the work. I stopped the surgery. Our work is useless. Do something quickly.
Oh, the lights have gone out now. Must have caused the fuse to blow.
We haven't any time to waste. Do something, man. That thing. Is he free?
No, he's still in his cage. He's on the floor. Electricity must have stunned him.
Look over there. There's a candle. Light it quickly.
Yes, I see it.
Quick, bring it here. We must finish this operation. My fingers are growing numb holding this tissue in place.
If we can finish before that thing in the cage comes to. Can you see by this candle?
Oh, I must.
Hurry. I think I hear him stirring in his cage.
Can you see if he is?
No, there isn't enough light to see that far. Was the cage intact?
I didn't have time to look. There. I have one clamp in place on the skull. I'll have another in a moment.
What was that?
I didn't hear anything. Here, hold the candle closer.
Nada's coming to. I can see her breathing.
I must hurry. We still have to bandage her head. Oh, I can't seem to get this other clamp through the hole in the skull.
Her breath is coming faster and louder now. I can hear it.
Watch where you're holding the candle.
I can hear her breathe, Hale.
Once I get this fastened, the rest will be easy.
Oh, she's breathing so loudly, Hale, behind you.
What? The man! He's out of his cage.
He's coming toward us. He'll kill us.
Wait! We're your friends. Wait! We're going to help you. See? Come, follow me.
Hale, Nada.
She's going to be all right for a moment. We must get him back to the cage. Now, that's it. Come along. Court, he's watching you and Nada. He's motioning for you to get away from Nada.
Watch out, Hale. He's reaching for you.
No! He's crushing my arm. Court, quick, there's a hypodermic needle on the table. Get it.
Yes, I have it. He's watching me now. Look what I have here. This will make you feel better. Come just a little closer.
Get him with that needle. His fingers are crushing my arm.
Oh, now just a little closer. I won't hurt you.
Let go of me. Let go. Court, get him with the hypo quickly. Court, he looks like he's listening to something. He's loosening his hold on me. In a moment, I might be able to pull free.
Staring at.
Court, look. Nada is getting up from the operating table.
No, she can't. The operation isn't finished.
Use the hypodermic for her, Court. Hurry before she stands up. See? She's sitting up now.
Nada, lie down. Oh, get back, you.
He doesn't want you to go near her.
Man.
Nada. Speaking.
Man from the past. We are going back, you and I. And we will take Court Mander and Hale Browson with us.
Court!
Man from the past. Bring Mr. Browson here.
Court, do something. Help me.
Court Mander, try to move.
I can't. I can't move.
No. You want to. But I now control your will.
They can let me go. He's killing me. Court, talk to her. I didn't bring her here. Have her make this inhuman monster. Let me go.
Hale Browson, you must die.
No, you can't do this to me. It's murder.
You have murdered many.
But it was different. It was the only way.
Man from the past, you must hurry. I'm not much longer for this earth.
Fingers! They're crushing my head! My head! My head!
Man from the past, you would be dead. You're not for this world. They brought you back against your will. Court Mander, you spoke of shooting this man. Where is the gun?
In the gun rack. On the wall there.
Get it. Bring it here. Point the gun at that poor, mixed-up soul of yesterday with the body of today.
No.
Now, so that he may have peace and rest, pull the trigger.
No.
Pull the trigger, I say. I haven't much more time. Court Mander, you and Hale Browson have been violating the eternal law. Man is born to die, and die he must. Your soul will never rest in this world, but it will never come back. There is one more shot in the gun, Court.
Yes, Nada.
Hand the gun to me.
Yes, Nada.
I must lie down on the table here. Stand in front of me.
Yes, I am here.
This is the end of the world you created. Now we may all rest in our graves. Hale! Court! What has happened? Hale! Court! Open the door, please! Hale! What is it? What is it, Hale?
Vera Browson's cries go unanswered. Hale Browson and Court Mander are dead. They will bring no more dead back to life. Now, turn on your lights. Turn them on. Pleasant dream.
All characters, places, and occurrences mentioned in the Hermit's Cave are fictitious, and similarity to persons, places, or occurrences is purely accidental.
Well, did you see that coming? That was a pretty creepy story, and in the end, I'm happy to say it's just fiction. Causing a cataclysm probably would have been noticed. This next story is even more creepy. It is titled The House with a Past. Are haunted houses a thing? Some say yes, others say it's just the foundation settling. While the idea of a haunted house is as old as time, the use of haunted houses as an attraction to scare visitors, well, that's fairly recent. According to an article from the Smithsonian, haunted houses originated somewhere in London in the early 19th century. It was there it started with eerie wax figures and a frightening spectacle. During the Great Depression, parents actually arranged haunted houses to entertain their children during Halloween. The first haunted houses were very simple in nature. Families would decorate their basements with scary scenes, and the kids would go from house to house. Things really didn't pop off until Walt Disney created the famous Haunted Mansion. That attraction opened in Disneyland in 1969. The scariest haunted house I could find is a giant walk-through attraction located in the former Georgia Antique Center in the outskirts of Atlanta. It's named Netherworld, and it features 3D special effects, aerial performers, and of course, flesh-eating clowns. Netherworld frightens so effectively, so inescapably, that people with heart conditions are warned against buying tickets. Now, I have seen some videos of this on YouTube, and even that was heart-pounding. It is very highly rated, and I will have links to it in the show notes. Well, none of that has anything to do with our story, but I hope you found it fun. It has been said that a haunted house begins with a tragedy and ends with a story. That is very true when it comes to The House with a Past. It is episode 18 of The Hermit's Cave, and it probably aired in early 1943.
Murders, too. The Hermit knows of them all. Turn out your lights. Turn them out. Have you heard the story? The House with a Past, eh? Then listen while the Hermit tells you the story.
It's 8 o'clock, Paul. You'll have to hurry if you're going to get to the store on time this morning.
I'm hurrying.
Oh, you know, Paul, I think I'm going to like this little town. No, I couldn't bear the thought of moving here when you first told me you had bought out the drugstore in a little jerkwater town.
I think we'll be happy here, honey.
Oh, imagine finding a dear little house like this, all furnished. Why, it's nicer than anything we could get in the city. And the rent's so reasonable. How did you ever happen to locate it, Paul?
Well, Mr. Rogers, the banker here in town, owns it. Belonged to some member of his family. They've gone away or something, so he rented it to me. Now, I've got to go, honey.
All right. Will you be home for lunch?
I'll call you on the phone if I can get away.
Okay. Oh, listen, dear. You must be careful about leaving lights on in the house all night. When you came to our room after listening to the radio last night, you left 3 lights on in the living room.
What? No, I didn't.
Oh, yes, you did.
Oh, but I tell you, I didn't, Margaret.
Our neighbors in small towns might think it very strange if they saw lights burning at all hours of night. Besides, we can't burn up money right now, Paul. Just getting started in this new business and all.
I don't know what you're talking about. I know I turned off the light before I came to bed last night.
I'm afraid you're getting absent-minded, honey, because 3 lamps were burning when I got up this morning.
No, I won't argue with you. I gotta go now.
All right. Don't get too absent-minded, dear. You might mix the wrong prescriptions for people. What? Well, look. Well, there goes the milkman right past the house. I told him to leave milk and cream every morning. He must have forgotten. Call him in, Paul.
All right, I will.
Now, let me see. What should I do first this morning? Oh, I love this little house. It's going to be grand living here. Oh, that must be the milkman. Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Won't you come in?
Thank you, ma'am.
I guess you forgot about me this morning. I want milk and cream every day.
Yes, ma'am. I didn't forget about you exactly. I thought maybe you would be moving out already, so I didn't stop.
Moving out? Why, we just moved in day before yesterday.
Yes, ma'am, I know. But that's about as long as anybody stays in this house.
I don't see what you mean.
I just figured I wouldn't leave any milk for you, because you might move away in a hurry, and I might not get any pay.
Oh, we aren't in the habit of moving out of places in the nighttime. I still don't see what you mean.
The last folks that moved in here about 4 months ago, they got out in the night, and in a hurry, too.
How strange. What for?
Well, if you haven't found out yet, you soon will.
Found out what?
This house. There's something in it. Queer things go on here. Things that frighten folks half out of their wits.
Yes? Well, what is it? What is it that's strange?
Well, no one knows, ma'am. But they say the house is haunted.
Is it one of the superstitions of this little town?
I don't know, ma'am. But most folks here in town know it's true. Should I leave a quart of milk, ma'am?
Yes, and a pint of cream every morning, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Here, I'll pay you for the week. Then you won't be afraid that I'll run off and you won't get your money. Here you are. Is this the right amount?
That's right, ma'am.
Oh, someone at the door. Pardon me.
It's your next-door neighbor, ma'am. I seen her coming across the backyard.
Oh, thank you. None of my neighbors have called as yet. Good morning.
Good morning. You're Mrs. Liveston, aren't you?
Yes, I am. Won't you come in?
Oh, yes, although I can't stay long.
I'll be going, ma'am.
Oh, yes, and don't forget to stop every morning.
No, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, I will.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, ma'am.
Well, so you've moved in here to stay, have you? And your husband bought out the drugstore. Oh, it's too bad old Mr. Green had to die. He was such a good druggist, and I depended on him so. He fixed up the most marvelous remedy for my rheumatism. And I always say these new doctors mean well, but they don't know the old-fashioned remedies the old men did. Oh, no, sir.
Oh, won't you come in the living room and sit down?
No, if you don't mind, I'll stay right here in the kitchen. Not that I'm afraid in this house in the daytime, mind you, but, well, I like to be right near a door where I can get out in a hurry.
Mrs. Dutton, will you please tell me what this mystery is all about? The milkman was trying to tell me something about him, but...
Now, that's just what I thought. I said to my man last night, I said, like as not, Seth Rogers. He's the banker who owns this house.
Oh, yes.
I said, I'll bet you dollars to donuts he didn't tell you folks a thing about it. Now, isn't that the limit?
Oh, what is it? Tell me all about it.
Well, there are no two ways about it. This house is haunted.
Huh? Oh, you don't mean to tell me that a lovely new house like this is branded with any old-fashioned belief like that?
Enough, all right. Sometimes I actually get so frightened right next door to it that I've threatened to move out of the neighborhood. I said only last week that if I heard any more stories about it, I'd have to get out.
Oh, for goodness sake, tell me what it is. I don't want to live in ignorance of what's wrong with my own house.
It is. That's what it is. Oh, it's a tragic story. A very tragic story.
Yeah? Well, tell me.
Well, this house was built for Mr. Rogers' daughter. He gave it to her for a wedding present. Oh, I remember as well as if it were yesterday. She was such a beautiful girl. And her husband. My, but he was handsome.
They lived here in this house?
Yes, but only for 4 weeks, mind you. Just 4 weeks in this lovely little house.
How long ago was it?
Just 3 years ago, last October. My, it was a terrible thing.
Oh, what happened to them?
Well, as I say, they'd only been married 4 weeks when one day he went out hunting. How well I remember that day. I was the first one over here when I heard about the accident.
To him, you mean?
Yes. Oh, my. To think that a couple so much in love should come to such a tragic end. Well, as I say, I was the first one over here. I even got here before Mr. Rogers came to tell his daughter about it. I had to break the news to her.
Something had happened to her husband, you mean?
Some other hunter shot him accidentally. Killed him outright.
Oh, how terrible.
Terrible is no word for it. And wait, you haven't heard the worst part of the story. 2 weeks afterwards, that poor girl, that lovely bride, who was a bride no more, killed herself.
Oh, no.
Yes, she did. Threw herself in the river. Drowned.
Oh, what a tragic thing.
Oh, her poor little body. They never recovered it, though they dragged the river for days and days.
Well, it's a terrible thing, Mrs. Dutton, but I don't see what it has to do with this house being haunted.
Oh, wait, I'm coming to that. You see, for 6 months after they died, it was closed up tight. Mr. Rogers never came near it. I came over and sorted out her clothes and personal things for him. He wouldn't step inside. Then I guess he decided to rent it. It was all furnished and everything.
Oh, it's so nice even now.
4 different families have tried to live in it since then. But they all moved away in a hurry. They claimed they heard things walking at night.
In this house?
Yes, walking all over it. Tragedy struck it too soon. And the ghosts of those young people come back to walk on the earth they were forced to leave.
Have you ever heard them walking?
No, and I don't want to.
I heard nothing last night.
But you will. You mark my words. Oh, great heavens. What was that?
Sounded like something in the living room. I'll go see.
Something certainly did fall.
What? Why, look. It was this beautiful vase that sat on the mantel. Oh, what a shame. It's broken in 1,000 pieces.
Not a car going by on the street to jar it up. Not a thing. Oh, I tell you, they're beginning to walk in the daytime. Let me out of here. Let me out of here. They haunt the house in the daytime now. Oh, let me out of here.
Paul, wake up. Turn on the lights.
Well, what is it? What did you say?
Wake up. Turn on the light. Right there beside you.
What's the matter?
Listen. There's someone walking up in the attic.
I don't hear anything.
Wake up and listen, you will. You hear it?
I hear a noise.
Someone walking, I tell you. I can hear it plain as day. Oh, turn on the light.
How do you feel better when you can see?
I don't think I hear it now.
I suppose whatever it was knew we turned on the lights and scampered away. Honey, I'm ashamed of you. You let that neighbor of yours get you all upset.
Oh, no, I haven't. I'm certain I heard someone walking upstairs.
Well, it's stopped now. What do you say we go back to sleep?
Well, let's sleep with the light on.
Nonsense. Well, I'm back to sleep and forget it.
All right. I'll try.
May I turn off the light then?
Yes, go ahead.
There. Now you calm your fears. Go back to sleep.
Oh, I know you think it sounded silly.
Of course I do. You can't scare me.
There are such things as ghosts, you know.
Where? In books?
In life.
Ah, you're silly.
Paul. Listen, Paul. There it is again. Don't you hear it?
I do hear a noise.
It's someone walking right up over our heads. Paul, you've got to go up in the attic and see what it is.
All right, I will. Just to satisfy you. But I know it isn't anything. Just the wind rattling something up there.
Wind doesn't make the sound of footsteps. Oh, hurry, Paul.
You want it to get me?
I want you to find out what it is.
Well, where's my robe?
I'm beginning to see why people moved out of this house. How could they stay here with this strange walking over them?
You want to come with me?
No, I'll stay here. What's that? Oh, it's Paul walking up the attic stairs. Oh, I've got myself in a nice state of nerves. Now, if that's Paul, it sounds exactly like the walking before he went up there. What was that? Paul! Paul, come here! Paul, come here, quick! What happened?
Margaret, that was down in the kitchen.
I'm coming. Oh, what is it?
Look what's happened here.
My heavens. Oh, what in the world?
Every dish in the cupboard is smashed on the floor.
Oh, of all things. All these lovely dishes broken. What could cause it?
By golly, if this isn't the limit.
What could cause it, Paul? Was there someone up in the attic?
No, there wasn't. But, Margaret.
Yes?
I don't want to get you frightened.
No, tell me, what did you see?
Well, it wasn't exactly what I saw. Well, in a way it was, too.
There was something, wasn't there?
As I was climbing the stairs to the attic, I don't know what it was, but I had the queerest sensation, as if something brushed my shoulder. I could feel it, almost see it. It was as if I were blind and yet could sense someone or something trying to move stealthily past me.
Oh, Paul. Oh, dear, the house is haunted there.
I don't know. But if it is, and something did pass me on the stairs, it came down here in the kitchen and threw all these dishes on the floor.
Let's get out.
I'm going to talk to Mr. Rogers in the morning. I can't believe it yet, but there certainly is something going on here.
I know it. I heard them walking long before you did. And the vase on the mantel this morning, it broke too.
Well, keep calm, honey. We'll find out what it is. Right now, if you can find a cup that isn't broken, I'll have a gallon of black coffee.
What can the trouble in the house Paul and Margaret have rented be, eh? Who is moving about in their house in the dark of night? The hermit will tell you before the night is done.
And now, the hermit again.
It is the next morning, and we find Paul in the office of Mr. Rogers. Listen.
It's all right, Mr. Liveston. You're welcome to move out. I'll refund your month's rent.
I don't want to do that, Mr. Rogers.
You've stayed a night longer than anyone else who's rented the house. I don't blame you for going.
You haven't ever stayed there, have you?
No. I presume you know the story of my daughter and my son-in-law.
Yes, I do. I don't want to bring it all up for you again.
It's all right. It's with me all the time. What I started to say was, I can't bring myself to go in the house. I built it for my little girl. I couldn't go into it. Ever.
What I'd like to ask you is, do you take any stock in the story about the house being haunted?
I don't know. All I've heard is from the people who've rented it. They say so.
But you don't believe it, do you?
I don't know. There might be some truth in it.
Yet you've never investigated.
Oh, I think you understand. I can't visit that house.
But maybe if you came and stayed in it, we could clear the matter up. Won't you come over to the house and stay with my wife and me tonight?
Well,
Please. We'll feel a lot better. We want to live in the house if possible.
Well, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll try and forget my sorrow. I'll go there to the house tonight and stay with you.
Thank you, Mr. Rogers.
If there is anything, we'll find it. But I don't want the house all torn to pieces.
Oh, no, sir. We won't do that.
I hate to lose the property. But if it's true that there is something wrong, I may have to burn the house down.
That would be a shame. My wife likes the house. We'd like to stay there.
Well, I'll be over tonight. Maybe we can straighten it out forever.
Good evening. Oh, Mrs. Dutton, come right in.
Suppose you're surprised to see me. I didn't think myself that I'd ever come into this house at night.
Well, now you're here, won't you take off your things and sit down?
I just brought this shawl. I'll keep it over my shoulders. Isn't that Mr. Rogers' car out in front?
Yes, it is.
Well, think of that. I never expected he'd come to this house. Never. Is there something wrong? Something more than usual, I mean?
Well, not exactly.
It must be something very strange that would bring him to this house. He never set foot inside it since the death of his daughter, you know.
So I understand. But he very kindly consented to do so after my husband went and talked to him.
What about?
Well, we like the house very well, and we'd like to stay here if we can.
Has anything else happened since the day I was over?
We did hear some strange sounds.
I knew it. And you've gone right on living here. How can you do it? Why, I'm sure Where's Mr. Rogers gone?
Oh, he and Paul are looking through the house. They've gone down the basement now, I think.
Searching? What for?
Well, nothing definite.
What could they find? Things that haunt houses couldn't be seen.
Well, you know how much better anyone feels after they've searched all through a house which frightens them.
Oh, my heavens. Look.
Where? What do you mean?
Can't you see? Look at that chair.
What?
Look at it.
Why, it's rocking.
Oh, of course it's rocking. All by itself.
Oh, they must have jarred it while they were down in the basement.
Oh, no. It's spirits rocking that chair. I know it. Whatever is in this house that haunts this place, it's after someone. Or it wants something. I know it. Oh, it's rocking again. All by itself. Oh, help! Help!
What is it? Yes, what's happened?
Oh, Mr. Rogers, it's you. Oh, I'm glad you've come. But now you may stop whatever it is in this house.
What is it, Mrs. Dutton?
See that chair there? It started to rock all by itself.
Did it, Margaret?
Well, yes, it did. I thought perhaps it was because you jarred the floor while you were down in the basement.
Oh, it was spirits. I know it. Oh, my nerves. The nerves are all unstrung. I've got to go home. Right now. Right now.
Well,
she really was frightened, wasn't she?
Of course, if it did really move of its own accord, it would frighten anyone. I can't make it out. We haven't seen a thing.
Oh, it isn't that there's anything in the house that hurt you, Mr. Rogers. It's only this constant moving of things in the house. And in the nighttime, someone or something moving in the attic. We haven't seen anything either.
I don't think we shall. I shall have to admit I'm still at a loss to account for it, though. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'll retire to my room for the night. But I promise you I shall stay awake. And if there is anything, we'll find it.
Well, can hear it tonight, all right, Margaret. Was that the sound you heard?
Yes, that's it. Should we call Mr. Rogers?
No, let him hear it for himself. Then we'll be certain it isn't a product of our own minds.
How could it be a product of our own minds? There's certainly something moving about in the attic.
Someone, something walking. You're right, it is.
Yes?
It's Mr. Rogers.
Just a minute.
I think I heard what you've been referring to. The sound of something moving in the attic.
Yes, Mr. Rogers, we just heard it too.
Shall we go up there?
Yes, I guess we better. I can't make it out.
I'm going to.
All right. Will your robe be warm enough?
Yes, I'm all right.
Then let's go right away.
Oh, wait. There aren't any lights in the attic. I'll take a flashlight.
Why, the attic was wired for electricity.
I guess the bulbs have been taken out then. Because I couldn't get any light the other night when I went up there.
Listen. I hear it again. Do you? It sounds as if whatever it is was moving faster, walking more rapidly.
Are we all ready now?
Yes, I am.
Of course, we won't see a thing. All these weird things happen and we never see a thing.
Here are the stairs. Watch out now. Don't fall anywhere.
Oh, I hate to admit it. I'm so scared my heart is pounding like a trip hammer.
I know. I went cold all over when I heard the sound of walking while I was in my room. The light should turn on right here.
Guess they don't work. We can see pretty well with this flashlight. Yeah, you see? Not a thing. Totally deserted.
We can't peer into the corners very well.
Wait, I'll stand up in this chair. Maybe the light bulb has come loose. Maybe I can fix it. I can almost reach it.
Here, I'll give you a boost.
Now I've got it. Yes, it is loose. There. Now turn on the switch.
Yes.
Oh, there. That's fine. Now we can see there.
But there isn't anything to see. Isn't it the queerest thing?
Did you feel anything pass you on the stairs this time, Paul?
No.
Did you, Mr. Rogers?
Pass me on the stairs? No.
Well, neither did I. And if there is anything in this house, it should still be right here in this attic.
Do you mind if we tear things to pieces up here and search thoroughly, Mr. Rogers?
I don't know what there is to search for, but go right ahead. I hate to disturb my girl's things that were left here in the attic. But we might as well, I guess.
I just thought it might be an animal or a bat or something living up here. We may find it.
Well, that wouldn't account for the dishes breaking, Paul, or the chair rocking.
This is just a pile of bedding, isn't it?
Yes, I guess so.
Oh, look. Look at this big trunk. What's in it, Mr. Rogers?
Oh, that trunk, why, it was one my wife and I first took to Europe with us. My little girl used it for her trousseau, I guess.
Oh, I think it's locked. But maybe I can open it. Stuck, I guess. Rusty. Oh, there. It's opening. Paul. Paul. Come here. Paul. Oh, Paul.
Margaret, what is it?
Don't look. It's a body.
What?
Great heavens.
What is it?
It's a body, Mr. Rogers. A woman's body.
What? Let me look at it. Great heavens. It's the body of my daughter. The body of my daughter.
Margaret is much better, Mr. Rogers.
I'm glad to hear she's getting along all right. It was a terrible shock for her.
And for you, Mr. Rogers.
Yes, it was. So much I can't even think or reason it out.
You know how it happened?
Yes, we found the bottle of poison in the bottom of the trunk. She crawled away in there and died.
Believe me, my heart aches for you.
But at least now I can give my little girl a decent burial. Mr. Liveston, I'm convinced there was something that moved about in the house. Aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Either the spirit of my daughter walked in that house, or that of her husband trying to tell us that the body of my little girl was there.
We haven't heard or seen anything strange for the last 3 nights.
No, and you won't. The spirits will rest easy now. They'll rest easy.
The wandering spirit was set free. It will walk no more. Turn on your lights. Turn them on. I'll be back. Pleasant dreams.
All characters, places, and occurrences mentioned in the Hermit's Cave are fictitious, and similarity to persons, places, or occurrences is purely accidental.
Okay, what did you think of that one? I found it to be one of the better ghost stories to come out of the golden age of radio. It was both scary, suspenseful, but in the end, the ghost got her story across and justice was done. Can't get better than that. I hope that you liked this double feature of The Hermit's Cave. It truly is one of the classic radio series of the golden age of radio. I was doing my thing on the internet when I came across a treasure trove of OTR commercials that I hadn't heard before. We have a bit of time left over this week, and I thought I would play a couple for you. Cheerios were first introduced in 1941 as Cheerios. The name was changed to Cheerios in 1945 after Quaker Oats filed a lawsuit over the use of the word oats in the name. Well, the rest is history.
Golly, what a wallop! He rang the bell again.
He's feeling his Cheerios. Yes, Cheerios, that energizing breakfast cereal made from oats. Good, old-fashioned, nourishing oats, all ready to eat. Cheerios gives you a kind of nourishment that really counts. Cheerios is a cereal that really helps you build up strength and energy. So for your better breakfast, always start with Cheerios. Cheerios. Cheerios.
Bosco chocolate syrup was invented in 1928 in Cameron, New Jersey, by an unknown physician. In the 1950s, Corn Products Company acquired it. The name Bosco comes from ancient Greek meaning I nourish. Here's one of their commercials. Me? I never heard of Bosco chocolate syrup before.
I love Bosco, it's rich in chocolate tea. Chocolate flavored Bosco is mighty good for me. Mama puts it in my milk for extra energy. Bosco gives me iron and sunshine vitamin D. Oh, I love Bosco, that's the drink for me.
Well, that's all we have for this time. I hope that you enjoyed these as much as I did playing them for you. If you have any OTR ads that you want to share, please do it. I love these things.
This is the Autolite Suspense Show signing off. Good night. Switch to Autolite.
That was episode number 656 of Ron's Amazing Stories. I hope you enjoyed our creepy trip back into the golden age of radio. Remember, you can find out more information about the show, submit your own stories, or even get in touch with me through the links in the show notes. I hope that you enjoyed the show and join us next week for another exciting adventure into the world of the strange and unusual. If you want to follow the podcast or the blog, head to ronsamazingstories.com. Clicking that follow or like button helps us grow. Thank you for listening, and I hope you come again to find out what are Ron's Amazing Stories.
All of the vintage audio used in the podcast is believed to be in the public domain. Ron's Amazing Stories does not own the rights to any of the old-time radio used here. If you hold the rights to any of the shows played, please contact us immediately at ronsamazingstories.com.